I got a free review copy of this game, and I'm gonna be honest, I expected it to be mediocre. I've never gotten a review code before, so I thought this was either gonna be a crypto scam, a cruddy student project made by teenagers, or a cruddy crypto scam made by teenagers. So you can imagine how surprised I am when Aureole Wings of Hope has been continuously on my mind. Aureole released only a few months ago, this video took way too long, and it's a physics-based time trial platformer, inspired by Sonic and Celeste, but really reminds me of games like Spin Dizzy, really simplistic arcade games that have a core movement mechanic that gets expanded upon within the levels. On the surface, the physics definitely have that Sonic energy, with a ton of slopes and momentum bullshit and a pretty obvious nod to the spin dash, but while you can see the inspiration, it really doesn't feel like Sonic at all. The core moveset has only 2 buttons. You can perform an omnidirectional dash 2 times in the air, and perform the spin dash ability that can also be used as a ground pound. Yeah, you can't even move normally. You have to use these abilities, and I really like how restrictive it is. You pretty soon discover that if you ground pound then immediately spin dash, it's called other things but I don't care, you can instantly halt your airspeed and pick it back up on the ground, almost like a faux drop dash. But then you realize that instead of doing a normal jump upwards, if you spin dash off a slope or prepare yourself up in some other way, you retain your gold color, signifying you have 2 jumps left. In the right spots, you can essentially perform a triple jump, allowing for a super addicting rhythm of slams, dashes, and jumps. High speed is genuinely hard to maintain, making when you are able to go really fast super satisfying. You have to earn those moments, but there's enough safe spaces to really let loose that it doesn't feel restrictive. Again, while you can tell what it was inspired by, the combination of 2 completely different games tied to a unique aesthetic means that it never feels derivative in the same way that even really solid platformers can be. There's no "your princess is in another castle" moment where there's a really obnoxiously blunt reference to a popular video game. These yellow orbs function like the green crystals in Celeste, feeling extra erudite today, where they refill your dash when touched. But because this game's air dash and Celeste's air dash function entirely differently, and levels are structured entirely differently, and it doesn't look or sound at all like it does in Celeste, it doesn't feel lazy or overindulgent. The developers went, let's take these singular mechanics from games we like and extrapolate on them, bring in our own ideas. It shows a level of maturity a lot of indie devs just don't have. On level structure, I always think about it in 2D platformers kind of like shapes. Mario is almost always a tube, with you always running to the right, while Sonic is like a giant rectangle, with different paths being shoved into every corner. Celeste is super boxy, with every room being a square with every single pixel mattering. Aureole reminds me most of the Ubi Art Rayman games. They're also super horizontal, but are a lot zippier than like Mario. You're almost always running to the right, but you're zipping up, down, and all around. The multiple anti-gravity mechanics also help the comparison, although even still, Aureole doesn't really feel like any of the games I compare it to. You don't even walk, you just change the direction of your 2 abilities. It's like a hypersonic form of golf, where often it's beneficial to try and make as few inputs as possible. What helps this is the extremely unique method of challenge in the game. Instead of just getting to the goal and trying not to die, you have lightning quick respawns and there's no method to permanently die, but you have a par time you have to clear in order to pass. This is super cool and allows for a lot more engaging challenges as you don't have to worry about health or lives or anything like that, just getting through it ASAP. It feels like a brain blast along the lines of Sonic using its coin equivalent as a faux health meter, or Pizza Tower only letting you fail if you run out of time. I play other games, I promise. However, I don't think the game is fully designed with this mechanic in mind. Checkpoint starvation becomes obnoxious near the end of the game, as even if the respawn is quick, you still have to redo up to 15 to 20 seconds of a level, which adds up severely when you have to redo the whole level if you take too long. This would be fine if there were more frequent checkpoints. Something that I would experiment with is having no punishment for failure at all other than the time you just wasted. Instead of dying and warping back, just have obstacles knock you around or stop your momentum. If you still want respawns, maybe invisible checkpoints like a kart racer would work. The concept of time being the only thing that matters is cool as hell, but I think you could stretch that even further and deliver something unlike anything else, where traditional video game obstacles are recontextualized. Then, that perfect run feels even better to pull off. There's also a ton of secrets in each area, including collectibles and cryptic riddles. The collectibles are really fun and I like how they add elements of world building, but I fully gave up on these riddles. I'm too stupid for this, but either way, it's a smart method of having multiple reasons to replay levels, adding a lot more value for the game. If you just care about the perfect run, go for it. If all you need is a mission clear and you want to look for secrets, go for it, and they're very smart for not trying to combine these. While Pizza Tower did this perfectly with the S&P ranks requiring you to get everything, that just doesn't fit a time attack game like this, so having essentially 2 modes of the game dictated by your own player philosophy is a very clean way to go about it. It's a very compact experience that feels like it's really trying to stand out, instead of just standing on the shoulders of better developers. And this feeling is really exemplified by the style and story. Aureole has a unique, cozy style that I haven't really seen in video games before, before. It feels very internet artist, but I mean that as a compliment. You can see traces of contemporary cartoons like Steven Universe, but it crafts its own identity, and, most importantly for me, it's not retro pixel art! Yeah! I kid, there are some beautiful looking pixel art games, but I'm so completely burnt out by them. Not helped by a lot of retro indie games having really mediocre character designs. Aureole isn't the most exotic world in cast I've seen, but they use a nice style with some cute designs to make you remember it. I will say though, aside from the religious motifs, these environments are really generic. Grass again, cave, winter. The heaven area is the most standout, but it could still be compartmentalized into just the sky area. I think going more exotic or specific would have helped the game a lot more, especially since you spend more time in these areas than something like Sonic. Like, what if instead of this just being the snow area, it was themed around Christmas, with the lore reason being that every year people make the trek up to the snowy mountain to celebrate their version of it. The religion isn't specifically Christianity, just inspired by it, so you can find ways to flourish these areas in ways that feel more distinctly your own. I understand not wanting to go full Earthworm Jim. I'm not asking for New Junk City levels of wackiness, but there are methods to keep yourself 1 foot in reality while still feeling unique. Rayman 1 is simple forest and mountain areas, but they ooze atmosphere and really bring out a surrealist nature aesthetic. Like, the hell is this weird hand statue? Those are my notes, but again, overall the aesthetic is never bad, it is very pretty, but I hope they go even harder with their next game. And honestly, I could say the same for the story. First of all, just thank you. I am so tired of video games that are glorified level packs that don't give a shit at all about their story aside from maybe an opening and ending. Aureole actually goes the 9 yards and has dialogue, and voice acting, and character arcs. This is like an oasis in a desert. I am so tired of indie games being either actual visual novels or absolutely nothing but the base contextualizing for the gameplay. No shit against VNs, they totally have a purpose, but my favorite thing is just when a game has a strong core gameplay loop and a narrative to back it up. I'm not asking for every Tom, Dick, or Harry to contain a book of story within Mage Knade's Futanari dungeon quest. I just want something to chew on intellectually, and Aureole gives me more stuff to chew on. Unfortunately, I don't think it fully lands it, but honestly, I'll take something more involved that fails than nothing at all. My main issue is that there just isn't much depth, and the characters talk a lot and pretty bluntly. I believe the story was translated to English from another language, so it's very possible the game's a lot better in its native tongue, but it overall feels kinda childish, which isn't inherently bad, but doesn't really say anything. Ramilla is a very hot-headed person with self-esteem issues, but all this really comes out as is her basically bluntly saying, I want to go home and I am insecure that I'm bad at things. Which, tying the main character's confidence to a platformer that gets progressively harder is a really smart move, but again, it doesn't really do anything with it. Rylith is just kind of the person she bounces off of. These aren't bad characters, they are charming. I love when you beat a level, you can sometimes hear Rylith say a generic, yeah I did it line, and then Ramilla butts in to make fun of him and Rylith laughs it off.
Shut up.
Like, I like this, because it immediately sets their two characters without you having to explain anything. When the game kind of feels pressured to say everything really bluntly and out loud, you immediately understand Ramilla's kind of jokey and Rylith is kind of a dork, but that they still enjoy each other's company. They kind of feel like siblings, it's really cute. This scene is a really emblematic moment. I really enjoy this exchange the two have as Rylith says pink is his favorite color, and Ramilla kind of gives him shit for it since his color palette is so pink. This causes Rylith to mention people's hair color matching their favorite color, and Ramilla genuinely made me giggle by questioning if bald people don't have a favorite color. That's a small bit of world building that was led into by a joke and is exited by another joke. A really smart natural method of conversation, but Rylith kinda kills the momentum by saying this line. This feels very hat on a hat, kinda pointing out that Ramilla said something funny. What I'd have instead is make Rylith either genuinely not have an answer for that and compliment her unconventional way of thinking, showing how useful a mind like Ramilla is to him, or have him bluntly explain the actual answer, but then wrap around to tell her that it's good she's thinking about it. Both of these lead toward the same point of Ramilla not being an idiot, she just thinks of herself lowly because she doesn't fit in. I really like the idea of Ramilla essentially being the ideas guy that cuts the knot in a scenario Rylith will trip over himself trying to solve. This is not bad writing, to be clear. The fact that it didn't dispose the entire conversation shows that these characters and scenarios have legs. It could just be pushed further. Show don't tell is true even in dialogue. There's an attempt at an overarching theme of hope, but it falls a little flat because there needs to be more to play with. They try to make it something, but it doesn't really work. I do get the idea of, oh, Winds of Hope was actually about the hope of the characters, like, you know, you're recontextualizing the game title. And I do kind of see that arc in the finale when they are holding on to their hope hope despite everything looking like it's lost, but I think you need more characters or more depth or something to make it really fit. Despite all that though, I really do appreciate their attempt to not just make a level pack. This is not bad writing, just amateur. Needs more practice. Hell, fucking hire me next time. I'll do it. I've written a whole ass RPG as a Super Paper Mario mod. I did this for nothing but the love of the game. Anyway, going back to aesthetics, the music of the game is pretty solid. I really like the modern VGM trend of lo-fi hip-hop for common areas. It's very distinctly mid-2010s to current day. Like, I'm sure we'll see it as dated in a decade, but I really like it. Meanwhile, the level themes themselves are pretty good. Acorns and Angels and Should Have Brought a Coat are standouts, but the fire that lines within the inner self is the easy favorite. And I did that in one take. I'm the best. It really feels like a Sounded here in a Flash game. It has a very Newgrounds Audio Portal vibe. Kinda Run 3-esque. I will say though, a decent amount of the music tends to blend in. None of the songs really make me think of the environments, and more so make me think of how far we are in the story. This is very subjective though, as music tends to be. Either way, I really hope you give the musician a listen. But fuck music, this game's standout is the sound design. Dude, genuinely, some of the best sound work in indie games. As of right, I haven't played in weeks because I'm busy working on other stuff, but I still remember all of the sound effects. They are that good. I love the air dash sound, when you hit the spin dash, when you're on the anti-gravity floor. It's seriously professional quality and it feels very distinct. Everything sounds like guns made by aliens. Sound design doesn't get enough love, so 2 thumbs up. And 2 thumbs up to this game overall. It's really solid across the board, and I really think it deserves more attention. It's a solid 8 out of 10, but I can totally see someone giving this a 10 out of 10. And that's all the game really needs to be. It doesn't have to be everyone's favorite, it just has to understandably be someone's favorite. Team Stargazers have put themselves on the map, and they really deserve to be paid attention to. The game isn't perfect, as I said, but their next game, whatever it is, could easily be a masterpiece. I kinda look at it like the Behemoth. Alien Hominid was a great first game, but left a little to be desired. And then Castle Crashers came in and really solidified them as one of the greats. And then Battle Block Theater happens and it's like, holy shit, these guys are gods. If anything, I consider Aureole an investment. Get on the ground floor now before these guys turn into the next Torta Pizza and edgy teens are pretending to hate them and call their stuff generic. Thank you so much once again for sending me a review copy. Even if I made the video way too late than I really should have, please keep giving me more of these. And any devs in general, send me your shit. I promise I won't be months like that next time. I just had a 3-hour video to edit and a fucking full-length RPG to write. You caught me at a bad time, Aureole. I'm very openly cynical about modern games in general because it's really hard to find stuff that appeals to me, but I'm really glad Aureole is put into my lap. Once again, thank you, Team Stargazers, and until next time. Also, if you're watching this while the video just came out, watch me on Twitch. I'm playing Ocarina of Time for the first time I've ever played it before. Okay, bye.